My dad was a professor in that college. My father was a professor here too. That's how I came up. It's very special. Also, your children also. Grandchildren.
How many years?
To work in Texas Tech University, Uzbekistan. So there's 7 from Uzbekistan that I'm coming. I have a DSC from Uzbekistan. Delegation? Yes, they are here already. They were already. Yeah, they came last week.
Hello? Yeah. Hi. Oh.
Important African delegation.
Welcome.
ट्रेनिंग आहे ट्रेनिंग चालू द्या त्याची सेरेमनीज न करता गोष्ट आहे बोयत चला was the president of this organization. I don't know his exact position here.
Well, it's sort of an organisation, it's a group of friends who got together. He was one of a number of farmers.
So this is an excellent. Louis, why don't you step forward? Louis, we are presenting a copy of this. Would you sign this?
Thank you.
You are a member of Parliament. Would you sign this as well, Julia? Cost technology, which we want to exchange, so they have brought this message here. There's 2 specialists on pharmacy side.
No cost and affordability.
Barabar.
Akola. Take your shoes off. Come back.
Farmers Dialogue International Chairman from Australia, Mr. Jim Bagan, FDI's Secretary, Great Britain, Dr. Ravindra Rao, Residential Director, Initiatives of Change, Pontypridd, Ms. Jayashree Rao, Executive Director, Rampal, Agricultural University, Akola, Mr. Avitanshu Chaudhary, Representative, NRTP, also Mr. D.P. Chaudhary, Representative, NRTP, Dr. Sanjay Goyal, Associate Professor, Dr. Punjab Deshmukh, Agricultural University, Akola, and Organizing Secretary, ILP. I request all the delegates to acquire their respective seats. Thank you, sir. The global as well as our Indian civilization stands erect because of the strong backbone of moral values. Respect to elders and hospitality to the guests are some of the core values. Traditionally, the Chief Minister of our Maharashtra state, Shri Abdul Rahman, with these words of humble welcome. Before starting our function, I would like to request the House to please rise for 2 minutes in order. Thank you. Dear all, today's event, thank you. I wish to extend the special to showcase lasting solutions and deliberate actions. Global from the words of Mrs. Omnia Marzo, President of IOFC, to people to live differently and exemplify the change. Today's international dialogue from her tragedy by providing time and labor. This ILB will be helpful for empowering farm women by giving a look at their traditional lands, yet unhindered of a soul, anchored in darkness. By tilling this land, let us then
समोर आहे.
Yes, it was our duty to pay homage to Dr. Punjab Deshmukh. So by garlanding his portrait, we are paying our homage. Swadesh Pujyate Raja Vidwan Sarvatra Pujyate. So today we are paying homage to the great work whatever he has done for the benefit of society. I request you to please take your seats.
To welcome you all in the Dr. Punjab Deshmukh Krishi Vidyapith Agricultural University, Akola. Named after the first Union Agriculture Minister of Independent India and beloved son of soils of this Vidarbha region in Maharashtra state of India. Dr. Punjab Deshmukh was a strong supporter of farmers, an educationalist, an agriculturalist, a politician, and professionally a lawyer. who had his bar at law and Doctor of Philosophy from Oxford University, London. With this brief introduction of Dr. Panjabram Bhausaheb Deshmukh, who is the inspirational founder of Indian agriculture, I pay my deep homage to Dr. Panjabram and his Bhausaheb Deshmukh. Dear friends, couple of days back, on 2nd December 2014, there was a sad demise of former Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Dr. A.R. Antule. We lost an eminent personality in Maharashtra and all of us in deep sadness. And for his remembrance, Government of Maharashtra declared 3 days condolence. Hence, we are unable to give you our traditional welcome and felicitation. I think you all understand our sentiments and feelings. In spite of this, I will try to bridge this gap with my worthy warm welcome to you all, traveled from the 11 different countries in the world to participate in this 14th International Dialogue held in India during 4 to 10 December 2014, a 7-day long journey. This could not be possible without constant persuasion and dynamic leadership of our beloved Vice Chancellor, Dr. Ravi Prakash Dhani sir, chairman of today's inaugural function. He did his graduation from this university and obtained postgraduate and PhD from Indian Agriculture Research Institute, New Delhi. Thereafter, he rendered his services to ICR in India as a principal scientist, then to Uzbekistan, USA, and other parts of the world. Sir, Dhani sir, I welcome you all. Welcome you for this inaugural function. Chief guest of today's function, Sri Sanjay Ji Dhotre sir, is Member of Parliament of the India from last 11 years. And before that, he was member of the Legislative Assembly of Maharashtra State for 5 years. He belongs to agriculture family of this region and professionally he is an engineer. But his inclination to agriculture made him agro-industrialist, has a fruit and vegetable processing unit in MIDC, Akola, and also running Krishi Vigyan Kendra in Akola district to rendering the direct agricultural services to the farmers. Dr. Sri Dhotre sir, I welcome you on this occasion of inauguration of the 14th International Farmers Dialogue 2014. He has attended in spite of his busy schedule. Parliament session is going on. Our another guest of honor is Sri Srikant Deshpande sir, the member of Legislative Council Maharashtra State. Professionally, he is the teacher. He has accepted our invitation and make convenient to attend this function. So I welcome you, sir. Our another guest of honor and Head Environmental Impact and Risk Assessment Division, Navy. He has coordinated several R&D consultancy projects of the world funded by UNDP, ADB, UNEP, WHO, Ministry of Environment and Finance, the Department of Biotechnology, Department of Science and Technology, Pollution Control Board, and he has been World Bank consultant to Philippines government. Whatever, we are also welcoming for this function. Our prominent guest on the dais is Mr. Phil Jeffries, who is President of Farmers Dialogue International, and Mr. Jim Wigan, who is Secretary of the Farmers Dialogue International. Both are working for so many years with this organization, previously known as Moral Rearmament. Now it is been called as the Initiative of the Change. The organization has its subsidiary, Farmers Dialogue International, which has its headquarters at Switzerland. Mr. Phil Jeffrey is chairman of the Farmers Dialogue International and Mr. Jeev Vigan is the Secretary of the Farmer Dialogue International. This Farmer Dialogue International organization is working for socio-economic upliftment of the work at locally. So we are welcoming you, sir, for this inaugural function, Jeffrey sir and Vigan sir. We have much mobilized with kind consent of given by the FTA, especially Chairperson Mr. Phil Jeffrey sir, for organizing this International Farmer Dialogue at Akola in India, and also welcome him to become the part of the entire 7-day session in India. We are also warm welcome to Jeev Vigan, who come from United Kingdom, not alone with other 3 participants. On this occasion, I must say, he is the man behind the organization of this particular International Farmer Dialogue for coordination between overseas delegates from registration, visa to reach here at Akola. So, Vigan sir, we are welcoming you on this occasion. The prominent guest sharing dais is a couple, Dr. Ravindra Rao and Jayasri Rao. Previously industrialist at Bangalore, but their strong commitment to society pulled them to the Panchgani, and they are rendering their services for the betterment of the farming community. Jayasri Rao has started Gramin Paryavaran Vikas Kendra at Panchgani for women empowerment through hand-on trainings and programs like rainwater harvesting, hand wash, etc. We heartily welcome you for this inaugural function. I also welcome Amitanshu Chaudhary as well as Professor Chaudhary sir, representing the Nawaz Bhai Ratan Tata Trust, who is also a major sponsor of this event. The Tata Trust, through his CSR responsibility, undertaking number of activities in the improvement of the life of the poor people, not only in India but also throughout the world. And from last half decade, we have strong association with NRDT. We are working on the agricultural development for distressed family in the Vidarbha region. Chaudhary sir, we are welcome you for your gracious presence in the inaugural function. I also take this opportunity to welcome Juliana Swai, and representative of the foreign delegates. She is a transformer in Tanzania, and here I must have mentioned that she travels alone from Tanzania to India to reach here. She is the only delegate from the Tanzania. Attend this conference on farm empowerment and renewable technology. Madam, we welcome you here for the inaugural function of this. Similarly, I would like to welcome all delegates, 11 countries representing Australia, Canada, France, Israel, Kenya, UK, Uganda, Uzbekistan, and of course my dear India. I also welcome Dr. P.G. Ingole, Director of Research, Dr. BDK Akola, and co-chairman of the organization committee for his gracious presence in the inaugural session. At last, but not least, on behalf of Dr. Paryavaran Vidyapit, I heartily welcome Dean, Directors, Head of the Departments, faculty members of this university, my dear students, staff, scientists, and other members present in the house. My warm welcome to the members of the presence in this particular dialogue, particularly the press and media who are giving publicity to the university activities, not only on the front page but also on the page 3 of the university. So I think the 7-day deliberation you will enjoy with the agricultural technologies which are developed by the university for the betterment of the agriculture community, and I assure you that all the foreign delegates, you will take something for your country from this university. So on behalf of Dr. Paryavaran Agriculture University, then Grand Prix Ayog Panchagani, and Palyavara Deshmukh Agriculture Foundation. I again welcome you all. Thank you. Dhanyawad.
Thank you, sir.
Sarah Hudman. I'm an attorney in Lubbock, Texas from USA, and I'm very happy to be here. Thank you very much.
I was working with the Forest Extension Services, but I retired. And after retiring, I'm working with the community on working on small-scale farming and training farmers that farming, you can depend on farming commercially. Thank you.
For my people in Uganda, and I said it locally, as well as processing cassava, which is as food, and it's added into some wheat flour to make cakes, biscuits, and other things. On top of that, Broadcasting Corporation, that is the government institution of my country, Uganda, and I've been working there for the last 30 years. And among the other programs presented, I'm a presenter of farming programs, which gives information to farmers on the best ways to improve on farming, and as well as to earn a living from that farming. Thank you very much.
The College of Agricultural Sciences and Natural Resources at Texas Tech. It's indeed an honor to be here with you. I'll be speaking later on this morning about 2 new proximal sensing technologies which allow us to make determinations of soil properties in the field, and these are compelling new technologies which I think you'll find very intriguing. Thank you so much.
Who are very distracted in the village, I try to uplift them in agriculture and make them believe that they can live, sustain their families, educate their children through farming. Thank you.
Rome, Italy, by living there 10 years, and now I have an NGO in India, plus I'm a director of an NGO in Canada. And I would like to work, I work with the education, rural and tribal education, plus with farmers' family and women empowerment. Thank you.
Agricultural Center. It is an institution that trains on technological biomedical agriculture and organic farming system. Biomedical agriculture are low-cost technology that uses local available materials in communities for food security and income, and for environment conservation. We train at the diploma level, that is for academic purpose, and we train farmers. Manaus is an international institution to train all people from all over the world. It's the only institution training on biomedical agriculture in the world. So people all over the country, not in the country, the world, come to Manaus for the training on biomedical agriculture. In the institution, I'm a trainer, that is a lecturer, and I'm also a... Thank you.
Komego Farida from Uganda. It has been a very well welcome. It's been very nice to come to India. I'm a farmer back home.
Jenny Hunter. I was born in England, but I live in Texas and in the south of USA. I'm a licensed therapist in addiction, drugs and alcohol, and I'm also trained on suicide. And I'm here to bring information to stop the terrible, terrible suicide of these families.
Howard. I live in Cheshire, in England, near Manchester, in the Colville of Manchester United. I am a fruit farmer, but I am also part of Cheshire's Agricultural Chapter team. And our work is that we are voluntary, and we go into farmers to see and help them. We are able to prevent them from taking their own lives. Thank you.
I'm Colin Howard. I'm married to Monica. I have been a fruit farmer in Cheshire for about 50 years. having retired earlier on this year. I've been a member of the dialogue, unable to travel for many years because of the need to be on the farm doing work. We had about a 70-acre fruit farm, which my father started in his mid-30s. In those days and up to the mid-1990s, we supplied the local wholesale markets, selling both top fruit, apples and pears, and soft fruit. But more recently, over the last 20 years, we've created the locally well-known Cheshire apple juice, making it fabulous bottles, which we've sold globally. Very good natural supplements.
Good morning. I am from Uzbekistan, Rashan Ismailov, Doctor Agricultural Economics. From Uzbekistan, senior teacher at Namangan University Institute of Engineering and Technology, and I'm co-partner of agricultural projects at the Institute. Thank you for your attention.
I am from Uzbekistan. Thank you. And I'm educated, very talented, and I'm married to an Indian farmer who when there's no food on earth, you still have food from the farm. That's why I'm married to him.
My name is Firuza Mustadina. I'm from Uzbekistan, Tashkent. I'm working at the Institute of Genetics and Experimental Plant Biology. My research field is conservation of local fruit crops and their wild relatives. I'm here to share my experience in this field, and I'm very glad that I'm in India and see such a wonderful people. Thank you very much.
I work with the Institute of Microbiology, the Uzbek Academy of Sciences. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. I am from Uzbekistan. My name is Saidgani Nabil. My specialty is cotton breeding and genetics. Thank you very much.
Claude Bourdin de France. I'm trained as an agricultural engineer, but I've been working most of my life with this program, Farmers Dialogue International and Initiatives of Change. But my commitment is for you farmers.
अभय शहा, मी आर्किटेक्ट आणि फार्मर पण आहे आणि इनिशिएटिव्ह ऑफ चेंज बरोबर गेले काही वर्ष काम करतो. इंटरनॅशनल फार्मर डायलॉगच्या इंटरनॅशनल कमिटीचा एक मेंबर आहे.
महाराष्ट्री संलग्न बरीच वर्ष आहे.
या भौगोलिक स्थितीमध्ये जमिनीला मोठमोठ्या क्रॅक पडतात. त्या क्रॅकचा उपयोग, या नॅचरल क्रॅकचा उपयोग पाणी पुरवण्यासाठी निर्वहणासाठी कसा करता येईल यावरती मी गेल्या 4-5 वर्षामध्ये आपण संशोधन केलं. त्याला ICIRT पुरस्कृत केलं आणि आजच्या या कार्यक्रमात सुद्धा 16 तारखेला माझं प्रेझेंटेशन मी आपल्यासमोर
specialist, and I am part of a team in India. The last 5 years, we developed new techniques that developed in Israel, and we bring it here to share the knowledge with Israel and this business. You will hear from me one lecture about one of the things that I'm doing in Israel also. Thank you very much.
And farmed in many different countries, I feel very comfortable when my feet are firmly on the ground. I think farmers are the salt of the earth. Thank you.
brought up under understanding that it is a farmer's job to feed the world. And this is a trail I've been following ever since. Thank you.
Friends of this university, we are fortunate that Sir, really we are fortunate that you have spent some time with us. We live forever because words of persons are like pearls of wisdom. So, I would like to cordially request our chief guest, Sri Sanjay Dhotre sir, to please enlighten us with few words. Sir, please.
धन्यवाद. कृषी महाविद्यालयाचा विद्यार्थी आहे. बुलढाणा जिल्ह्यामध्ये शेती करतो आणि सध्या रोटरी क्लब ऑफ अकोलाचा प्रेसिडेंट आहे. थँक्यू.
सय्यद आश्रम बोरगाव मंजूर रेल्वे स्टेशन फळपिटकीवर काम करत आहोत 10 वर्षापासून
करतो. आणि विशेष स्वरूपाने आपले विदर्भातले आणि महाराष्ट्रातले जे शेतकरी बंधू भगिनी इथे आले आहेत त्यांचं विशेष स्वागत आणि जे सहकारी आणि मित्र आणि विद्यार्थी इथे आले आहेत, ज्येष्ठ पत्रकार, वरिष्ठ पत्रकार, त्या सर्वांचं स्वागत. I would like to extend a very special welcome to our friends who come from 11 different countries. I'd like to welcome Mr. Phil Jeffries, my old friend from Australia, Mr. Jim Wigan, Juliana, Mr. Amitan Shu, who is the representative of the NR Tata Trust, who are our partners in progress for many years, my friend and colleague Subhash Vate, very dear friend and colleague Dr. Ravindra Rao and his wife Jayashree, all the distinguished delegates from 11 different countries. I'd like to welcome our friends from Uzbekistan. Добро вам пожаловать. Мы очень рады, что вы здесь. И надеюсь, что между нами будет хорошая интеракция, и диалог будет, и от этого результаты будут замечательные. Большое вам спасибо, что вы пришли здесь. We also have very special delegation from our friends in Africa, and some of them have faced very great difficulties because their airline tickets were cancelled at the last moment. But it is through the example of hope and courage that they were able to come, and we are very touched. Juliana here is from Tanzania, and then she tells me that she is not too far from Kilimanjaro, which is my dream place if I can ever go there. But friends, just one day ahead of her flight, she was told that her flights were cancelled. But she was able to get the next flight, and then she's here. We are very happy to have her here. Our friends from England had to go through a very dreadful experience because Lufthansa Airlines suddenly cancelled their ticket. But they were very determined. They were able to find the next flight. This is very, very, very encouraging, and we are very happy to extend a very warm welcome to you all. We have some very special friends from the United States.
Dr. David Weindorf, Sarah Hartman, and Jenny Hunter. I'm very glad that they are still awake, because after 20 hours of flight, they would be sleeping for at least 10 hours. So thank you for staying awake. I have extremely great pride in welcoming my dear friend Louis Wallace, who is an English farmer. You all remember Louis because he has come and stayed with us, and it was the dream of me and Louis that there should be a dialogue. We are very glad, Louis, that you went back to England and you worked very hard and convinced all the friends. We are very thankful to Jayashree in particular. She was able to convince everybody. And to Jim Wigan, who has worked day in and day out, worked very hard to make this happen. Friends, there are many issues that are dear to our heart. As I was trying to show you this morning, the headlines of the newspapers are that in the last month, 21 farmers have committed suicide. One of the objectives of this conference is to find lasting solutions, and I think the lesson that we have learned in this university has been that you don't have to give only a solution, but you have to give a technological solution. And all of us at this university, I think, have the power to give them not only the message of hope, but a technological solution. We are very glad that our friends from Uzbekistan are also here. They have also faced some very difficult situations in their country, and some of their solutions are very applicable to our situations. Allow me to say a few words in Marathi again. आज आपल्या या कार्यक्रमाला 11 देशातले लोक उपस्थित आहेत. त्यातले बहुतांश लोक आपल्या लक्षात आलं असेल की शेतकरी आहेत, आणि आपण हे जे सुविधेर हे स्मरणिकेचं प्रकाशन केलं आहे सांगताना अतिशय हर्ष होतो. या आपल्या कार्यक्रमाला भारताचे सन्माननीय महामहिम राष्ट्रपती, महाराष्ट्राचे सन्माननीय महामहिम राज्यपाल, आपल्या देशाचे सन्माननीय कृषी मंत्री श्री राधामोहन सिंग, भारतीय कृषी अनुसंधान परिषदेचे महानिदेशक डॉक्टर अय्यप्पन आणि इतर अनेक लोकांच्या शुभेच्छा आपल्याला या कार्यक्रमासाठी प्राप्त झाल्या आहेत. आणि असा जर प्रश्न विचारला जातो की हे अत्यंत नापिकीचं वर्ष आहे, शेतीच्या क्षेत्रात अतिशय निराशा झालेलं वर्ष आहे, आणि अशा प्रसंगी या समारंभाचं काय प्रयोजन आहे? मला आपल्याला सांगावं असं वाटतं की हा समारंभ गेल्या 1 वर्षापासून याची योजना केलेली आहे, आणि आपल्याला दिसलं असेल की गेल्या 8 महिन्यापासून अनेक लोकांचे जे प्रयत्न चालू आहेत त्याचं फलस्वरूप हे कार्यक्रम झाला आहे. आणि इथे आलेल्या प्रत्येक व्यक्तीचं जे कार्यक्षेत्र आहे जगातलं, त्यांनी जे वेगळं कार्य केलंय त्याचं वर्णन या पुस्तकात दिलं आहे. आणि आपले जे चर्चासत्र होणार आहे त्या चर्चासत्रामधनं आपल्याकडे जे काही उपाय आहेत आणि जगभरातल्या देशांमध्ये ज्यांच्याकडे उपाय आहेत त्यांचं आदान प्रदान होणार आहे. आणि आपल्याकडे जे 2 विशेषज्ञ आले आहेत, मला त्यांच्याविषयी एक शब्द सांगावा असा वाटतो की मोनिका हावर्ड जे मॅडम आल्या आहेत, काजूची शेती करणाऱ्या, इंग्लंडमधनं आल्या आहेत. ह्या आपल्याला त्या चर्चासत्रात सांगणार आहेत की यांच्यावर एक अतिशय दुर्दैवी प्रसंग आला होता की यांच्या स्वतःच्या मुलाने आत्महत्या केली, आणि त्यातून त्यांना काय शिकायला मिळालं. जेनी हंटर मॅडम जे आल्या आहेत अमेरिकेतनं, ते आत्महत्यांच्या संबंधित त्याचं एवढं स्पेशलायझेशन आहे की आत्महत्या कशा थांबवता येतील याच्याविषयी त्यांनी काही लोकांना ट्रेनिंग दिलेलं आहे. हे सर्व उपक्रम आणि त्यांनी काय काय कार्य केलं हे आपल्या समोर मांडणार आहेत. कॅनडावरनं शर्मिला गुंजाळ सुद्धा आलेल्या आहेत. यांचं या क्षेत्रामध्ये पुष्कळ कार्य, त्यांना दोन्ही देशाचा अनुभव आहे आणि महिलांसाठी वेगळे असे कार्यक्रम केलेले आहेत. कार्यक्रमाला बराच उशीर झाला आणि चर्चासत्र अजून बाकी आहेत, परंतु मला असं वाटतं की सर्वांच्या आशा फार एकदा पुन्हा उचंबळून आल्या आहेत आणि हा कार्यक्रम ज्या सर्वांच्या शुभेच्छांमुळे सफल झाला त्या आपल्या सर्वांचं पुन्हा एकदा मनपूर्वक आभार. आणि माझ्या टीमचे सदस्य जे आहेत त्यांच्या सर्वांचा मला आभार द्यायचा आहे. याच्याविषयी असं म्हणतात एकेकाळी की दारासिंग नावाचा जो हिरो होता त्याला जर कोणी विचारलं की आपकी फेवरेट हिरोईन कौन है तर त्याचं उत्तर असायचं की एक का नाम बताऊंगा तर दुसरी नाराज हो जाएगी. म्हणून मी कोणाला थँक्स देऊ आणि कोणाला नाही अशी माझी अवस्था झाली आहे आमच्या टीम मधल्या. तरी पण नीरज सातपुते, भोयर आणि कोंडे यांचं नाव मला तरी घ्यावं असं वाटतं की यांनी अथक परिश्रम केले, पण याचा अर्थ तेच दारासिंग चौकी इतरांनी नाही केले असं नाही. त्याच्यामुळे कोणी काही गैरसमज होऊ नका. आणि या कार्यक्रमाला आपल्याला चर्चासत्र जे होणार तिथे याची खरी सांगता पुढे होणार आहे. तर पुनश्च एकदा सर्वांचं स्वागत, आभार आणि वी लुक फॉरवर्ड टू व्हेरी फ्रुटफुल इंटरॅक्शन. Words are not enough to welcome you. This has been an effort which was launched for about a year ago, and then everybody here has been in a couple of days from now for a reason which has been told to you in the beginning. So allow us to extend a hearty welcome to you. Hearty note of thanks to all the sponsors, particularly our Tata Trust partners. Mr. Chaudhary is here, and recognize the good work of all the friends here. With this, I will close. And we look forward to unveiling of the more important part of this conference, which will be the technical session. Thank you and welcome again.
Thank you, sir. We hope that your guiding words will definitely help us to make this IFD a grand success. Thank you, sir. Respected function. To conclude today's inaugural function, I would like to invite Dr. Kishore Birve, Public Relation Officer, Dr. Punjabrao Deshmukh, Krishi Vidyapith, Akola.
On behalf of the organizing committee, International Farmers Dialogue, let me take this opportunity to extend my wholehearted and sincere thanks to our beloved Vice Chancellor, Honorable Ravi Prakash Dani sir, Chairman of this inaugural session, for grace the occasion and also for providing this golden opportunity to all of us. I am also thankful to Mr. Phil Jeffries, Chairman Farmers Dialogue International, for trusting us for organizing the 14th International Farmers Dialogue in India, and that too at Dr. PDKV Akola. Thank you, sir. I am equally thankful to Mr. and Mrs. Rao and entire IFC team for sharing the responsibilities. Thank you, Madam and sir. I feel extremely happy to express my sincere thanks to Engineer Sanjay Dhotre, Member of Parliament, Government of India, for their graceful presence and thoughts. I am also equally thankful to Sri Srikanth Deshpande, MLC, Government of Maharashtra, to grace the office, and from the India for sharing their experiences. I feel extremely happy to extend the sincere thanks to all the sponsors, including Tata Trust Mumbai, Adani Group, India Group, agro-based companies, all agricultural colleges or their managing bodies, and without which this occasion could not be possible. I am also thankful to our ex-Vice Chancellor Dr. Govindra Raju Bharat, DSO Sri Lahari for their valuable presence in the house. I am also thankful to all the officers from the university, all the farmer delegates from India and from our Vidarbha region. I am also thankful to all the students for their kind patience and presence during the entire program. I humbly welcome and express my sincere thanks to all the press and media friends for their presence and coverage. My sincere thanks to all the chairman, secretary and members of various committees constituted for smooth functioning of this event. I am also thankful to our caterers, the transporters and all those who directly or indirectly help us to make this event a grand success. With the permission of the chair, may I declare that the inaugural session is over. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The session first to be in the committee hall. It is a humble request. Whosoever are outside the hall, please be there in the hall for first technical session. Please come inside for first technical session. The speakers who are delivering the lectures today are requested that as if it is possible for them, they can just short up their presentations because we are running 1 hour late in this program. So we need to complete this session by 1:30.
Deserved honor. You know why they selected me? I know nothing about the subject, and their hope is that I won't talk too much, and so they will save time. They are mistaken. If I don't know, I can speak longer. But however, just a word about initiatives of change before we start, because you must be wondering what initiatives of change has got to do with this entire subject. Now, very briefly, initiatives of change is a movement which is international, worldwide, to change the society to what you really want to see it do, to it be. And the belief is that you start with yourself and then give it to the other fellow in a world where everybody is waiting for the other fellow to change. The best place to start is with yourself. And that includes, of course, the farmer. And you farmers nurture the land which feeds us, and you feed us with that. And our attempt is to nurture the people who should be nurturing the land. And that means every single one of us, and not exploited.
Say it in Hindi, the whole thing. Say the whole thing in Hindi again.
Hindi? अरे बाबू, ज़्यादा टेस्ट हो रहा है मेरा. अच्छा, कोशिश तो करूँगा. इनिशिएटिव्स ऑफ चेंज हिंदी में क्या कहते हैं इसको पता नहीं. शायद
परिवर्तन की पहल.
परिवर्तन की पहल. ओके, पहले इसका नाम था, बहुत आसान था, नैतिक पुनरुत्थान. हाँ, ये इसका क्या कहते हैं, इसका मकसद है दुनिया को बदलना. कैसे? जो हम दुनिया में चाहते हैं वैसे हम जीना चाहिए. वही बात महात्मा गांधी जी कहे, यू बी द चेंज यू वांट टू सी इन द वर्ल्ड. हम उस पर ध्यान रखते हुए आदमी में क्या बदलाव आना चाहिए और कैसे इसे लाया जाए, इसके बारे में हम कोशिश करें. पूरा दुनिया भर बहुत लोग हैं. ऐसा एक बहुत बड़ा इंटरनेशनल सेंटर पंचकड़ी महाराष्ट्र में है, और वहाँ हमारा एक ब्रांच या इनिशिएटिव है ग्रामीण व पर्यावरण केंद्र। इसके जरिए हम गांवों में भी काम कर रहे हैं लोगों के साथ। जेफरिस from Australia, please come over, Phil.
And I want to see a world where my grandchildren's grandchildren have a viable and sustainable future. As Ravi said, I'm a retired farmer who grazed merino sheep for their wool in a semi-desert area of Australia. This region received an average rainfall of only 9 inches, or 225 millimetres. We constructed large earthen dams to catch rainwater, and we used polythene pipe to distribute this water for long distances to tanks and troughs. We did not plough the land or grow crops. In this region, the food these animals consumed were the local grasses and herbages. Each sheep needed 15 acres of land on which to graze for food. The area of the property was 50,000 acres. We sold this farm and moved to another farm in the higher rainfall area. The initial years were very productive, but after 10 years of drought, below average rainfall and low prices for wool, we had accumulated a debt. I worked off farm for 5 years while operating the farms afternoon and weekend in an attempt to keep the farm. We're talking drought, dry conditions. I had to shoot and bury 1,200 sheep that I couldn't feed. That's 1,200 sheep. There was no spare cash available, and if I did have the money, there was no feed available to purchase. There were many thousands of animals destroyed at that time. I could not just walk away and let the animals starve. I had to do something drastic. It was one of the worst jobs that I've ever had to carry out. I could write several books of those days. It is hard for a small farmer who has, say, 1 acre of land to understand how another farmer who has 3,000 times the number of acres is forced to sell what has been a farm, a house, a home, a place to work and raise children for more than 50 years. And this was a reality for my family. The pressures on farmers at that time were enormous, and an average of 5 farmers a week were taking their lives. Even now, the suicide rate among farmers globally is a major concerning issue, as statistically, rural suicide is much higher than people who live in the urban areas. My faith was tested as I strived to maintain the relationship with my wife while dealing with no grass, dry water holes, dying animals, banks, accountants and creditors. We were able to educate our 3 children before the property was sold. Margaret and I are still married and approaching 44 years of life together. 2 statements that are at the core of survival of mankind. A country without a viable agricultural sector is a country in trouble. And if it affects farmers, everyone in that country is affected. I began working with Farmers Dialogue 15 years ago and have visited more than 20 countries. I have gained the knowledge and a range of world agriculture, of the different soil types, and have met with many farmers who have farming in their hearts. Farmers Dialogue is a small part of a larger body, Initiatives of Change, that has existed for more than 80 years. I had worked with moral rearmament in the 1960s that later became Initiatives of Change. Initiatives of Change attempts to change the situation by working with people involved, endeavouring to more efficiently live and work where human beings are interacting with each other. Consider a meeting of cabinet ministers in a governmental institution, with the participants sitting neatly around the table. The issues on the table for discussion are not as difficult as those sitting around the table. If the people around the table are united and focused, the problems on the table will be dealt with more efficiently. Farmers' dialogue has grown out of the commitment of working farmers in many countries on all continents who have found a new purpose through initiatives of change. We work predominantly with farmers, with those involved in the food chain. Farmers can be seen as a privileged minority or as a people struggling for a voice. Despite great differences of circumstance and climate, there is a common language between people who work the soil, with the soil. Farmers are at the basis of life and produce the food that we all need to survive. Farmers, both in rich and poor countries, are not receiving an adequate return for their produce. And I mentioned this question before. Why is there so much poverty in an industry that the world absolutely relies on? The continent of Australia is dry, and Australian farmers are among the world's best. We have to be innovative to survive. Similarly to other nations, Australian agriculture is facing a series of crises. Farmers, some of the toughest people in this nation has ever produced, are in trouble. Mental health issues, suicide rates in rural areas are statistically much higher than in urban areas. Australia has 10 large deserts, slightly exceeding 17% of the landmass. Although some of these have sand dunes, there is scrubby growth on the ground, not the massive areas of sand, shifting sand, such as the Sahara Desert. According to Luke Gananja from Benin, the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification, the Office on Worldwide Desertification, I quote, "Of the world's landmass, about 40% of the land is desert. 11% is the best or top quality soil. Top quality soils are decreasing by 0.06% annually. The balance of the world's soils, approximately 47%, is classed as being marginal. Turning forest into desert is easy. It is much more difficult to turn desert into forest. Large areas of good farming land are being lost to housing, roads, mining. Of all the water on Earth, 97% is salt water, and the remaining 3% is fresh water. That leaves us with less than 1% of the planet's drinkable water readily accessible for direct human usage. It should be noted that the areas where water scarcity is the biggest problem, many of these places are where political conflicts are rife, leading to potentially explosive situations. If two sides in a war-torn country battle each other over land, a farmer has no security and the whole nation suffers. I do not want to talk about climate change in detail, but something is happening to our planet. Those of us who work the soil know very well that conditions are worsening. In my humble opinion, the most destructive effects to farmers and farming are the poor state of governance in many countries. Most of the world's politicians and advisors come from a city background, and each new generation becomes more remote to rural life. These people do not always fully understand farming and natural resource management. My country is not exempt in this. Our political masters dismiss agriculture in the rush to dig up coal, iron ore and drill for oil and gas, with scant regard to the natural resources of water and soil, all vitally necessary to grow food. In many developing countries, big business and multinational corporations persuade governments to develop natural resources, but the benefits rarely go to the developing countries where the resources are extracted. The biggest challenge for the survival of mankind is that people work together, understand and get on with it. It is better to deal with the people before trying to deal with the issue. Farmers' dialogue is not necessarily working to improve farming, but to improve relationships between farmers and the community. And as we help farmers to work together, things get done. The In my opinion, these are the things we need to be considering. Sustainable farming must happen. Governments need to understand farming. All planning has to be long-term. The soil needs to be cared for. We need to plan ahead for droughts. Water shortages need a fair return for their produce. Please feel free to talk to me during the dialogue. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Phil. There is a request before I ask the translation. I'm sorry, I completely forgot that my colleagues have not been introduced. That it's a great pleasure to work with you, sir. There is Mr.